Hey guys, Team YuGiOh here with another video, uploading this one in very near time to the previous upload in which I discussed the meta decks and what the problems are with those meta decks. So that wasn't really a ban list prediction video. That's not what that video was intended to be. That was more of an educated video on what the problems with those decks are and how they can be corrected and fixed for the future meta, unlike everyone believes. So this is an actual ban list prediction video, and I'm going to go over everything in here just to kind of explain what the reasoning is behind each of these cards. So let's go ahead and start with banned cards. We're going to start with Card of Demise. I played several of these decks when I was at Nationals. I beat them every time that I played against them. But the deck is just annoying. Card of Demise is a very, very stupid card for Konami to make in the first place. It's free draws. It makes stupid plays on boards that shouldn't even be thought of, with 5 back row and some monster on board that's gonna stick there for the whole game because your opponent has back row that's just gonna stop every single thing that you do. It's pretty self-explanatory as to why this card should be banned, and I think most people would agree. On to the next card, Monkey Board. Performer Pal Monkey Board. I feel that Konami will kind of follow suit with the OCG. We do tend to follow suit with the OCG very often, so I think that Monkey Board is a very likely possibility to get banned. I personally don't feel it should be banned, but I think that's coming from a Pendulum player. But I think that the reasoning behind it is solid enough for them to ban it, and for that reason I feel that Monkey Board will probably get banned. Now that's it for banned cards. I felt that those were the only two that really needed to be banned. Moving on to limited, I have Domain, because if they limit Domain, then Domain Monarchs are gone, and considering 1 Nationals, that would kind of make sense for them to do. Then following that right up, I have Pantheism. Those are the two large hits that I feel they're going to do for Monarchs, is Domain and Pantheism to 1. Despite the fact that I feel they could leave Pantheism at 2, I feel like they are going to put it to 1, because it just makes sense for them to do that, and it also follows suit with the OCG as well. As much as I don't want to see them do it, I feel they're going to hit Dante to 1. I think that Konami is just going to say this card can go to 1, it'll stop the deck completely, which in my opinion I think that the Phantom Knights are a better hit than Dante. You know, if you leave Dante at 2 even, I think it's a lot better and healthier, and then you hit the other stuff in the deck to slow it more. But that's just my opinion, and but it's also factual too, because the other cards in the deck are a lot better than Dante. Cards like Seer, Phantom Knight Boots, things like that's what makes the deck really good, if no one knew. And then moving on to the next card for Cosmos is Emergency Teleport. I feel that Konami is just going to kind of make a joke about hitting this deck again, because they did it last ban list where they just put E-Telly to 2 and that was it, which was fairly comical, and I feel they're going to do that again. I think they will put E-Telly to 1, just because it in this instance it's actually, in my opinion, kind of healthy for them to hit E-Telly to 2, or to 1, my apologies, to 1. Because then your opponent cannot end phase Tin Can as often, unless they open it. So that's my personal opinion on that. Now moving on to Pendulum cards, I feel they're going to follow suit with the OCG and hit Pendulum Call to 1 and Pendulum Sorcerer to 1. I don't know, that's just my personal opinion. I feel like I'm trying to think logically here on what Konami would actually do rather than being as opinionated about the list. I think that it makes a lot more sense for them to do something like that, to follow suit with the OCG, because you hit Pendulum Call to 1 and Magicians kind of fade out of existence a bit, and then you put Pendulum Sorcerer to 1, and playing Pepe is a lot more difficult, but I do have builds for the OCG format with Pendulum Sorcerer and with the current legal TCG list as well that still work just as good if we got a list similar to theirs. So I feel that they're going to hit Pendulum Call and Sorcerer to 1 each, but I don't feel that the Pendulum Sorcerer is going to hurt nearly as much as the Pendulum Call in this instance. Moving on to the last limited card, Solemn Strike. I think that this card is going to get the Solemn Boot, as I like to call it. All the Solemn cards just about get hit. There's a few of them that have not gotten hit, but there's a reason for that. Whereas Solemn Strike, I think, is going to get the Solemn Warning treatment, and it's just going to go to 1, and it's going to sit at 1, which isn't a bad idea, but it's also not the best idea. This card, I believe, will probably end up being in the Megaton, which comes out on September 2nd. And when you hit a card that's being printed in that tin, before the tin comes out, it's kind of, I don't know, to me it's not that great of a thing, but at the same time I do feel that it's very logical for them to do something along the lines of hitting Solemn Strike to 1, especially if they're going to hit a bunch of Pendulum stuff down to 1 and whatnot. I think that they're going to kind of take the other Floodgate cards and limit them with it. That's just my personal opinion there, as to why they would do it, but I think that's kind of logical. Moving on to semi-limited cards, I think Konami's going to put Kieran to 2, which honestly is perfectly fine if they do that, because 2 Kieran is all that you really need for the deck. You just need to see at least 1 Kieran, and usually you're all set. That's how the deck works for the most part. There's not too much to really say about that hit at all. I think that would be logical. I feel they could put Dark Destroyer to 2. I think this would be another kind of laugh it off kind of moment with Konami, like they did with Emergency Teleport. So I think they could put E-Tele to 1 and Dark Destroyer to 2, and the deck is still going to function and it's still going to run, which is perfectly fine. I don't have a problem with Cosmos. I don't think the deck is overpowered. I think that people need to just calm down and chill over this deck. Everyone's like, oh, they put non-targetable 3k beaters on board, but guess what? You have stuff like Stormforce still running around, you have Kaijus, you have Utopia the Lightning. You had just those 3 cards by itself are some of the most relevant cards currently in the game, and also you have Abyss Dweller with Raigeki as another one, so I don't see why people seem to think that this deck needs to be completely destroyed. The deck isn't that good, in all honesty. It just puts big monsters on board, and some people don't draw hands that can get over it. That's all there really is to it. And then the last semi-limited card I think they're going to do is Stormforth. I think Stormforth will go to 2. I think this is logical for them to do. I explained this in my meta deck video that I posted earlier, which you should definitely go check out if you want to get explanations on the current meta and what the real problems are with the current meta. Definitely worth going and checking that out, and you will see a lot more of what's going on with the current meta, what the problems are, what we can do to fix it, versus what people want to be done, because it's very opinionated when you go online and you play on Dev Pro and you just lose to one deck because of one card. At that point it gets very opinionated, and I think that's where people are kind of making mistakes with predicting things in the ban list. And then moving on to things that I think will come off the list. This is a small amount. It's 2 cards that I think can come off the list completely and we won't have an issue. I feel that Thousand Eyes Restrict is going to end up going to 3, because I don't see an issue with that card at all. I don't see anyone playing it for the most part. You can instant fusion into it, and it doesn't really do much. Like, it just sits there. You could I think you could take a Dark Destroyer with it, which is another out to Cosmo. If anyone's really having complaints about playing against Cosmo, there's another out to it. But I just feel the card could go to 3, and it's not going to affect our meta. And then the next card that I feel can come off the list, or I think Konami will take off the list, is Compulse. I do think Compulse can come off the list and be healthy in the game, help the game out a little bit with the upcoming format. It should not hurt the game at all. I know I said in my my video yesterday, or earlier today, it was like 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning when it posted or something like that. But I said that Compulse could go to 2. I feel that it will go to 2 or 3 in all honesty. I'm just kind of in between where I think it could / should be, because I think having that card at 1, it doesn't make much sense. I think it could very easily go to 2 or 3, and it will not hurt our current metagame at all. Very healthy card in my opinion for the game. Now we're going to move on to my my wild guess category. These are just cards that I feel will have something happen on the list. I don't have anything that's going to, on this wild guesses list, that's going to be banned or that's going to come completely off the list. By that meaning I have nothing that's not going to be going to 3 for off the list. So we're going to go to the limited section, which I only have 1 card. I feel they're going to limit Sangan. This card got an errata. It's not good anymore. You can bring Sangan back to 1, and it will not do anything for this game in all honesty. It's just such an irrelevant card currently. Does nothing for us. Moving on to semi-limited, I have 4 cards in this category that I feel could go to 2, and I think it would be healthy for the game and it would not hurt us at all. Starting off with Book of Moon, I feel Book of Moon can go to 2. It's really not that bad of a card to have it 2. Same with Compulse. I feel they could put Compulse and Book both to 2, and it would be okay. That's it. If they put Compulse to 3, I think they'll leave Book at 1. But if they put Compulse to 2, I think they could put Book to 2. So that's my personal opinion on it. Because the cards target, and you have stuff like obviously Cosmo spaceships, which can tag out when they're targeted, or you have the pilots which can tag out when targeted, and then the ships can't be targeted in the first place. So I feel that those cards would not impact that deck at all. I also feel that with Compulsion Book of Moon, that with Blue Eyes being an up-and-coming deck, Blue Eyes has Spirit Dragon, and if you are to, let's say, attempt to Book of Moon or Compulse a Spirit Dragon, which would not make much sense because you'd want a Book of Moon or Compulse the tuner monster that your opponent plays out. But if you were to, let's say, target a Spirit Dragon with Compulse or Book, they can just chain the effect and special summon Azure Eyes, and they'd be okay. Moving on to the next card that I think can go to 2, or this is a wild guess here, like I said, is Rhoda. I feel like Reinforcement of the Army is at 1 because the Tellers won Worlds last year, which honestly is not really like that big of a deal. People make a big deal out of that deck. If you can't beat the Tellers, then just stop playing this game, because that deck is trash from the start. I've never seen. I think I've played against the deck so many times, and I've lost all of like maybe 2 times since the deck has came out, and I've played against it a lot. Well, actually 3 times. I lost to it once at a locals, and then I lost to 2 of them at YCS Providence last year, not this year, last year, so 2015. Or no, it was ARG Providence, sorry, not YCS. Yeah, ARG Providence, I lost to 2, and one of them was because I got to the match late, because I was going to the bathroom, and then I just lost the game 2. I lost the technical game 3, because I won the game 2, seeing I got a game 1 loss. But I don't feel that Rhoda is a bad card. Yes, we are getting that new Satellar support card, but I think that having Rhoda back isn't really going to affect it that much. Satellars are trash. It's confirmed. Moving on to the next card that I think can go to 2 is Construct. This card I discussed also in my video last night, and I think that putting Construct to 2, not even putting El Shaddai Fusion up more, you could leave El Shaddai Fusion at 1, but Construct at 2 would probably be pretty healthy for this game right now. It does not have a negative effect on the meta if it comes back. And let me kind of explain this a little bit, that way everyone kind of understands where I'm coming from. You play a Construct out, and let's say all this stuff on the list does happen that I'm saying could happen / will happen. If all of this stuff does in fact happen, and you have Construct back, then at that point you could have your Construct be Compulsed, Book of Moon, Dark Destroyer, Kieran, Stormforth. That's just some of the stuff that I could list right off the top of my head. Just those cards by itself makes you kind of realize that although Construct is a good card, if it came into the game, it wouldn't be a terrible thing. Also, it helps you, and it wouldn't be bad for players to be playing Construct in some decks, because it's not really it's gonna help them a little bit, you know. If all this stuff happens, one of the decks that I played the most was Shaddai Cosmo, and that deck was really good, and that was back when we only had up to 4-runner. We didn't have Dark Destroyer, things like that. And that deck was absolutely broken. That's one of the decks that I've gone completely undefeated with and never lost a single game playing that deck, because of how good it was. But you give that card to some of the decks currently, or you kind of bring Shaddai's back a little bit, and then you have some competition for Blue Eyes, because you attack some of the special summon monsters of the Construct and they're automatically destroyed. And I'm not saying, because realistically you could put Construct to 2 and it wouldn't be terrible until you put like El Shaddai Fusion to 3. Then that's when you start to get the problems back. But putting Construct to 2 would not really hurt this meta or the future meta, in all honesty. And if they hit Dante, then I feel they should they should bring Construct back. And then moving on to the last card that I feel will be semi-limited, or could be semi-limited, is Soul Charge. A lot of people are gonna yell at me for this one, because a lot of people would disagree with this completely. And I thought about this, and it's something that I still think could be semi-limited, because with the way the meta is probably gonna look, it's still going to be pretty easy to OTK your opponent, and if your opponent does Soul Charge, then it's just making your job of OTKing them easier, unless they're creating completely broken boards. But that's, like I said, these last 5 cards that I have just listed are wild guesses. They're nothing that I am saying should be, or will be, or could be. It's just wild guesses as to things. It's also very opinionated. Some of them I would like to see come back to those numbers, and I think it would be okay for them to come back, but that's just me. That's not what I'm saying Konami will do. That's just something that I'm saying I feel would be decent or comical or useful. You know, it's nothing that's guaranteed. It's just stuff that I wanted to toss out there as wild guesses for the ban list, because Konami does do some pretty weird stuff. The only other one I can think of, now that I think about it, and this is going to be the last card before I end this video, is Brianak to 1. Konami has a tendency of bringing Synchro monsters back They've done it the last several lists. They've had Trish come back. They had YuGiOh Guardian come back. All of this stuff has kind of just started to fall back into relevance, and I think they could bring YuGiOh back, and in all honesty, it would not be too bad. I don't think it would be the worst thing ever. You know, we have Trish back, and Trish is a good card, but it doesn't destroy the meta, and I think Briannak would be the same way. But that's just another wild guess. Like I said, chances are it won't happen, but I'm not saying it couldn't either. So that's it for this video, guys. These are my ban list predictions / wild guesses. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Tell me what you think. Don't criticize my opinions or what I think could happen. Like I said, they're just guesses. These aren't even opinions for the most part on what I think should get hit. For the most part, this is all just what I think Konami is going to do. This isn't what I personally would do. But this is just what I feel they're going to do. So very, very different than saying what is going to happen or what I want to happen. This is what I think they are going to do. So once again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a comment below as to one card, just one, that you think will get limited. Not even banned. I just want to know what card you guys think is going to get limited. Just one. I just want to know one card that you think Konami's going to put to 1. I'm kind of interested because to me the limited category is the thing that's going to stand out the most on this list when we do get it. So just leave a comment. Tell me what card you think is going to get limited. Don't make it opinionated. I just want to know what you think Konami would do. So that's it. Give a thumbs up, like I said, subscribe, tell me what you think, thoughts and opinions, and this is Team YuGiOh Fails once again, signing out.